So I let him go anyway. When he's above the woods, go on in, send the dogs in. It's just a bit of a chaos then. Send the dogs in, ducks are going everywhere. Anyway, he's come down, he's hit one, killed it, and grabbed another one. He's killed two. And I thought, wow, you can't get any better than that. You know, for a bird that's never flown on ducks, he's now done two. And wow, that's the best thing ever. You know, you'll always remember that flight.
Hey, how's it going, everyone? Welcome back for another episode of the Falconry Told podcast. And with this episode, we are now 7 episodes into our series featuring falconers from the UK. And I wouldn't have been able to make this series possible without the help of 2 falconers, being Neil Davies from Pursuit Falconry magazine and Simon Tyers, who is also the author of The Specialist Falcon. Both of these are definitely worth adding to your falconry bookshelves at home, so I highly recommend you head to thespecialistfalcon.com and pick up your copy of Simon's book. You can also get signed copies from him there as well. And if you want to subscribe to Pursuit Falconry magazine, head to pursuitfalconry.co.uk to make sure that you're always up on some of the best new falconry content in the world. And when I met Alan for the first time at the Vowley Expo, I could tell pretty quickly that, he was a pretty fun and entertaining guy to be around. Some of his stories were definitely pretty amusing, and I enjoyed hearing about some of his experiences breeding his own birds and things of that nature. So I hope you find this episode as entertaining to listen to as I did to record it. There's only a couple more episodes left that were recorded at the Vowley Expo before we move on to other locations. So anyway, have fun and enjoy. Here we go. All right. Well, it's nice to meet you again, Alan. Appreciate you taking the time to hang out with me here.
Yeah, no, my pleasure. My pleasure.
All your friends seem to think you're quite a character, and judging by the shirt that you wore yesterday and the one you got on today and stuff.
I like to wear nice loud shirts. I think my wife's not too keen on them, but I think I'm probably known for my loud shirts. If I go away, I've wear the most floweriest shirt ever. But I think it's an age thing. I'm getting old now, but no, I just enjoy. Wife just wear green check shirts all the time. Wear something smart. So that's all I use. That's what I do. And I think most people now recognise me, think, oh, here comes Alan, with a bright flowery shirt on or whatever. Even if I'm on a grouse moor, I still wear a flowery shirt.
Yeah, I'm not super formal either, and I mean, wives and what do they know about fashion sense anyway, right?
They know nothing. I think that's what my wife says that to me. You've got no fashion sense at all.
Yeah, well, I guess we're not supposed to, right?
No.
To some degree. But well, how's the last couple of days treated you?
Yeah, it's been very good. Like I say, this year it's it's been 35 degrees in England, which is everyone's dying of the heat. Well, we're just not used to it. And I've just bought a new black jerkin. And he doesn't like the heat at all. Like you guys know, heat and gyrs don't get on well together. And he's now ready to start. He's hard penned. He's ready to start. He wants to be with me all the time. And so probably another week or so, then he's going to get ready for this coming season. So hopefully, touch wood, he's going to. And he's a smart looking thing. I've flown gyrs now for 25 years. I think it's my main birds that I fly. I love going out with my friends and see the falcons fly, and I go out with the hawks, but I do like the gyrs, and there's not many in England that fly gyrs. I think they're probably, I don't know, it's silly. I think they've still got a silly price tag around their neck, but a lot of people, we can't fly that because you might lose it. When Harris hawks come into the country, 30, 40 years ago, they cost you £2,000. And now you can buy one for £100. People are flying them now for, with no telemetry on, which is absolutely ridiculous. And it's the same with gyrs. 20 years ago, they would cost you, crikey, I don't know how much, silly money. But now, they're in the reach of most people. If you want to work hard and buy one and fly one. And I live in probably the worst place in England to fly a gyrfalcon. I fly 2 males and a female, well, two females and a male this year. So I live right next to Heathrow Airport, and it's not ideal for gyr hunting or flying.
So you're kind of like right in the middle of London then?
On the outskirts of London. If you imagine Heathrow Airport, from my house I can see Heathrow Airport. And then you've got what they call Staines Moor. It's like a big open area. It's not massively open. It's probably about 60 acres. No, probably a bit more than that. Say a couple of 100 acres. And it's common land, but you're not allowed to hunt on it. but it's perfect for flying, for training. So, we go over there, and, train the birds. But if it all goes wrong, you've got a big reservoir one side, you've got the M25 the other side. So it's a patch of ground surrounded by M4, M25, Heathrow Airport and a reservoir. And if it goes wrong, then you're in trouble, But touch wood, it's been, over the last 20 years, that's where I fly, and I fly again this year over there, or every year, just to get them going. And then the hard part about my sport, I could fly a goshawk and go to the local ground and, kick a rabbit up or a pheasant, but I just like flying falcons. And for me to fly my falcons, I have to travel probably, the same as the guys in America. If you want to fly prairie chickens or sage grouse or whatever, then you've got to travel to your game. And I have to do exactly the same, with a falcon. I have to travel 60, 70 miles, minimum 60 miles each way. And by the time you drive round, find a game or run the dogs or, whatever. Use a thermal in scopes now. But that's my sport and that's what I have to do. So, and I try and get out 4 times a week. A lot of people, friends of mine are out 6 days a week, not allowed to hunt on a Sunday, but a lot of them will sort of just do a training day on a Sunday or just have a relaxing day really. But so yeah, that's what I do.
That's actually still a law here, not being able to hunt on Sundays?
You're not allowed to hunt on a Sunday. Also, you've also got the game laws. Like say now, you think, if you get your falcon going now, you can't. In England, we're not allowed to give them bagged game.
Mm-hmm, right.
But to legally hunt pheasants, October the 1st, partridges September the 1st, or red grouse, go to Scotland next week or next month, 12th of August, then you can fly. But so if you've got a bird that's, you've got your falcon going now you want to fly on pheasants, all you can do is throw a dead carcass out. You can't throw a live, like I say, a bagged game out. Not allowed in England, totally illegal. So and we're not allowed to do it. So yeah. But it's that's the hard part, So come September, the cooler weather, and then then the hunting starts, properly, and also the covers, down, the stinging nettles and the brambles are dying back, so we can got more opportunity, more chance of catching one or finding one.
Oh, I get it. It's and yeah, I mean where I'm at right now, it's during the summer, it's 95 degrees. Of course, we're Fahrenheit, but 95 degrees with 100% humidity.
Oh,
so, I mean, it's miserable
where
we're at. And it stays that way until usually like mid to late October.
Yeah.
And so the really gung-ho guys, I mean, especially, we're always supportive of each other if we want to, help a guy out with his IS that, he's wanting to enter on game and stuff. But getting out, in that early of the season and when everything's still all grown up and it's still hot and humid, it can be just downright miserable.
Oh, it's awful. Let's say in England, we had 2 days of it last week, and I think the whole of England almost come to a standstill. We had 2 days of, I think it managed to reach 40 degrees, and that was the hottest we've ever had. And everyone, it's just, it's summer for goodness sake, in the summertime, the sun comes out, it gets hotter. But in England, and also the same in the wintertime, we have half inch of snow and all the railway lines pack up because they can't cope with about half inch of snow on the line. I think England's just full of, I don't know, crazy. Yeah, full of snowflakes.
Yeah. Well, people are accustomed to different things, different places. I mean, my parents, they relocated, retired to Florida several years ago, and anytime they come up to visit and it's less than like 70 degrees, they think they're dying, So I mean, it's all relative.
It's crazy,
I mean, you get kind of desensitized, I guess, to certain things, but no, I mean, so as far as with you, have you always lived around that area?
Yeah, I started sort of. Well, I can tell you, people say to me, when did you start? When did you first get interested in falconry? Was your parents interested? No, my dad wasn't interested in at all in it. And it all started. I can tell you exactly when it started. It was I was 12, 1972, 50 years ago. Me and my friend, we was fishing over by Stainsmore, where we fly the birds now. And we're being 12-year-old boys. We're not catching anything. We're making a camp and we're making spears and bows and arrows and things. And I heard a bell ring and I thought, ching, 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 look around, saw a guy flying a hawk. And I think, wow, where do you get one of them from? 12-year-old boy, that was my first experience, and I can still see it in my brain today, that first encounter with a guy flying a goshawk. I can't think of his name now, Bill Pearson. he was a guy, and I've met him. Well, I think he's still alive. Bless him. He's in Somerset. He's moved to Somerset, but I've known him now for over 50 years. Where did we get one of them? And back in 1972, you could take kestrels from the wild or a bird of prey from the wild. And I went home and said, Mum said, how'd you go? I said, yeah, Mum, I've got to get an eagle. Where can I get an eagle? I'll just go and play. And then where I lived in Stanwell, in Stanwell Village, there was a guy called Peter Hawkett. With a name like Hawkett, you think, wow. And he's been he's passed away probably about 20 years ago, but he was a lifelong NAFA member, again with Robin Haig. And they was the guys that were sort of, we latched onto, and we used to go around Peter's all the time. Then we got a kestrel each, and my little kestrel we didn't really know what we was doing, but Peter and, Robin Haig and Bill Pearson, they helped us out. And so that was the beginning of it. I had a little kestrel, and she was about 19 when she died. I loved her a bit. Didn't catch nothing with it, but we knew, just learnt the basics. And then from there we went then I bought a red tail, or I was given a red tail hawk. And she was fantastic. I loved it a bit. She was beautiful. And she'd catch, rabbits, pheasants very rarely, but mainly rabbits. Put on hares a couple of times, and the hares just kicked the life out of her. And I'm thinking, well, that wasn't a very good idea, because it bent all the primaries and all the tail feathers. And I think, well, we won't fly hares no more. But and I had her for about 12 years, 14 years. And I went on a field meeting. Again, I think it was with Bill Pearson and, the others. And a guy turned up, Jack Harris, a guy called Jack Harris. I think he's passed away now. All my friends have passed, crikey. And he had a peregrine. And that was my first introduction in peregrines. That was probably about that was 80s, early 80s. And that was it. The red tail had to go, and I had to get a peregrine. And then that was the beginning of it. So since the 80s, that's all I've flown is long wings. And wow, I think you're still learning. People say, oh, you must know everything. No one knows everything. Every day you're learning something new. And that is the best part about it. Like saying, my new adventure now is this black jerkin that I've just bought. And, I'm looking forward to getting him going. So hopefully it'll be good. But, gyrs can give you a nightmare. The first 2 years, they don't know what they're doing. They just want to play and just be a complete nightmare. But I don't know. It's just something about them. I just love them. And, crazy.
Yeah. No, I've heard a lot of differing views on gyrs, especially. There's a couple of guys that I've talked to that have sworn by their overall temperament, and especially if you do the imprint type of deal with them, and I mean it's one of those things where I think that every person's individual experience with any species is going to differ. And, everybody's got their personal preferences, talked about it tons and tons of times.
Ask 100 falconers, you can have 100 different questions, different answers. But
or
I've always flown, I did have a parent reared jerkin, and he was great, but he was okay. But he was just, I don't know, whether he was just one of those birds that was never going to be any good anyway, but he went in for breeding. And then sort of, my last 4 years I've been breeding gyrs, crikey. When I first went to Amarillo about 20 odd years ago, I met Danny Urquhart there with his gyrs, and he took us out. Bob Collins was there, took us out with the gyrs, and I think that was probably the beginning of it, the love of gyrs. And, sort of 20, 30 years ago, you just dreamt of owning one, or even dreamt of seeing one. No one in England had them, or very, very few people had them. And then about 12, 14 years ago, a guy, breeder in England, he said, do you want to... I've flew jerkins for about 20 years now, and the guy said, you've got a white female, an IS. He said, do you want to fly it? But it was a full imprint, and he said he just wanted it flying for 3 or 4 years, and then it goes back in for breeding. And I said, yes. So I had, Dora, there's a name. And I had her for 6 years, flew her for 6 years, and I was waiting for the phone call, because I love the bird to bits. I've had her for 6 years. She's my baby. I love her. And I wanted to, I was waiting for the phone call to say that obviously he wants it back for breeding. And I thought, I was dreading it, because obviously that was a part of the deal. I had her for 4 years. It's now gone to 6 years. He has her back for breeding. And, I love this bird to bits. And anyway, he phoned me up and he said, about Dora. I thought, here's a horrible bit coming. Do you want to buy her? I thought, crikey, I was like, yeah, I'd love to buy her. How much? I think it was about £8,000. And, that didn't go down too well with the wife at the time. So, I said, where can I get £8,000 from? You think, what can I sell? I've got no money. I'm thinking, sell me binoculars and sell me fishing gear and sell it. No, keep that, sell something else. So I managed to scrape the money together and bought her. And now I breed from her. And I say, now I've in the last 4 years, all done by AI, and now bred gyrfalcons. I'd never dreamt of breeding a gyr. Never even dreamt of owning one. Now, every year, for the last 4 years, I've bred 4 gyrfalcons every year, which is crazy. And I live in a mid-terraced house in London. The back garden's, 100 foot long, and surrounded by neighbours, and the next door's kids kicking balls up against the Avery walls, and you think it's not an ideal place for breeding gyrfalcons, but it's so easy. You never thought that, saying that 25 years ago. So now breeding my own gyrfalcons, and I've not made no money out of it. I'll give them to my friends. There's a friend of mine here today, John. He's a good friend, John Burns. Gave him a gyrfalcon. Another good friend, Dave Bishop. Want a gyr, have it. I'd rather let people have it. Oh, and the other guy, the guy with the setters walking around, got 2 beautiful setters. He lost his bird out to sea, of all strange things. This was last year. And I had a female gyr from last year, and I wasn't doing nothing with her. And I said to, named Jacob, I said, do you fancy, sorry to lose your bird. Do you want a female gyrfalcon? Not many people get offered female gyrfalcons. I said, you can have it. Give it a good home. That's most important. She's been flown. Anyway, he flew it, loved it. Flew it in North Wales and showed me he phoned me up. He said, oh, guess what? I said, oh. And he was in tears, bless him. He said, I can't even call it now. He said, the gyr's gone. I said, what? He said, what? He said, anyway, he's gone out to sea chasing something. On the last GPS signal, you could see that was where it went in the sea. And that was the end of it. He was so upset. I said, look, it happens. Every time you let the bird go, could get hit by a truck, could hit a fence, hit a line, whatever. So, but that's, I'd rather that happen than it sitting in a pen doing nothing all its life. And a lot of people will buy these gyrs and spend, money on them and think, you say, you're going to fly it? It'd be good to see it. Oh, well, I can't fly it. It's like it cost me £5,000 or £10,000 or whatever. And I think that's sad. You've got to, why buy a sports car and don't use it on the road? GPS transmitters now, and, never had that 20 years ago. Bird disappeared. Beep, beep, beep. Try and find it. Oh, and going through London, tracking gyrs down in the middle of a nightmare. Absolute horrendous.
Yeah, well, and it's that in that case, it's extra salt in the wound if they're tracking another $500, $600, $700 transmitter on their back too. On top of it.
Yeah, it's happened a few times. You'd be out tracking birds down. You've come across someone else who's tracking birds, and we've had some nightmare track down. I could probably talk a couple. About 15 years ago, we was, again, on Stainsmoor. I was flying a little gyr Barbary, pretty little thing. And I said, it was just before Christmas, and I said to the wife, I'm just going to quickly go and fly the gyr Barbary. I can't remember, fly Max. And she said, yeah, don't be too long because we've got to go Christmas shop. I said, no, I'll be about 2 hours. Well, that's going to be fatal. Anyway, I flew him, let him go, and he flew round, done a big out circuit, and then just straight lined, gone. I thought, So I got got my old RB4 box out. Beep, got a signal, faint signal downwind. Anyway, then the signal just faded away, lost it. Drove in bigger circles. Like say, when you're tracking a bird down, you just go downwind. And I know he went downwind because that's a lot. Well, you didn't say no, but I thought downwind, that's where he went. I'll just keep going further and further downwind, bigger circles. So now a friend of mine, he said, I'll come with you. Then I phoned the wife up, said, the bird's gone. Oh, that didn't go down too well because we're now going Christmas shopping, but I've got to find the bird. So she went off with the hump. I don't know why. So then we're driving downwind and we're driving down. Anyway, we drive all afternoon, no signal. We're now getting right out to the other side of London, near Wimbledon Tennis Stadium, that way, Kingston, Wimbledon, in the high-rise flats. And now it's pitch black. And now we're about 30 miles from where we were. Got lost on the road, took the wrong turning. We're now on the A3 going into London. You can't turn around to come back. So I said, I said to a friend, we'll turn left here. And I said, these traffic lights, we'll turn left. And this is gospel truth. As we turned left, beep, got a signal. If I hadn't turned left at that set of lights to go home, we wouldn't have got the signal. And beep, beep, got a signal. I think, fantastic, got him. Now, he's up where he was. There's a big high-rise blocks of flats, about 20 stories high. No, more than that, 40 stories high. Pointing the Yaga up there. You could see him on a balcony up the top. I think, crikey, he's up there. So I think, right. So I know roughly where he is. So you go in these high-rise blocks of flats, and it's like a labyrinth. You don't know where you're going. So, up until then, about a week before, where this this block of flats just on Wimbledon Common, this girl was murdered. So I thought, oh, this is just getting worse and worse, this track down. Anyway, so I've now running up these stairs. Bear in mind, I've got chick guts all over me and dead pigeon in my pocket and this, and trying to find a bird. And so I'm running up these stairs, knocked on the door. Now I'm sweating like you wouldn't believe. Knocked on the door, can you let me in? Can you let me in? My bird's on your banister. And there's a girl there opening the door and thinking, my God, it's some crazed lunatics just off the common. So anyway, she let me in. He was on the banister and I undone the door and he flew out into the sky. But luckily he crash landed about, I don't know, and my friend who's down there managed to fight. We got him, but we got him back. And that was probably one of the worst track downs we've ever had. But yeah, tracking him down in the middle of London, and I've had some horrendous ones. Stopped cars to borrow. Gone in Kilburn High Road in the middle of London. We had the signal coming from an old building, an old shop front. Above the shop was like derelict rooms, and the signal was coming from there. We had to stop a car in the middle of Kilburn High Road because he had a ladder on his roof. Can we borrow your ladder to get up into the roof to try and find a pigeon? He's in there eating a pigeon. Oh, we've had some horrendous. Yeah, it's not the ideal place to track falcons around in London. No guys, some of you guys in America have been tracking birds all around London, New York or wherever. But it's horrendous. And you get the bird back, and what are you doing? What's that for? You're walking along with a Yaga. Oh, can I help you? Just horrendous. But it's all part of the fun.
Oh yeah,
not.
Yeah. No, I've been stopped a few times going through neighborhoods and stuff, just driving around in circles. And can I help you?
Yeah,
I was like, I'm just looking for a bird. And they're like, what?
Yeah. Well, we have it now. So I live right next door to Heathrow Airport, and a few times they've gone in there, and that's a nightmare. If they go into Heathrow Airport on the outskirts, you're fine, but if they go over sort of the perimeter road, then you can't get in there. It's all very high security, and now you're walking around with a new Marshall telemetry set, and it does look a little bit like a gun, and you're walking around. I've had the armed police on me 2 or 3 times. What on earth? Put the gun down, do not move. And they say, it's not a gun. And you have to do as they told, do as they say, and then they say, well, it's not, I'm looking for a bird. Oh, right. Next time, if you lose a bird around Heathrow, please phone us up to let us know, because we've got reports now, what this day and age now in London, we're walking around with the Marshall receiver. It does look like a gun. And I've had it about 3 or 4 times where the police have screaming at me, put the gun down, do not move, lay on the floor. I think it's not a gun, but you have to abide by them, because I don't know, might be a little bit trigger happy.
Yeah, just a little. I mean, it happens occasionally. I mean, nobody's perfect, but no, it can be pretty. I mean, that's why I've talked, a few times too. The GPS stuff to me has been kind of worth its weight in gold.
Oh, it's fantastic. It's the best thing ever.
Yeah. There was one time. I would have lost. A few years ago, I had an imprint prairie falcon that I was training, and there was a couple times where he decided to do the usual IS thing, kind of peace out for a little bit and go explore on his own.
That's it.
And I mean, he flew where I usually would train. There's a small kind of ultralight, those ultralight planes. Where there's a small airport that's about 15 minutes from where I live, and I would train him there sometimes, and every so often he would decide to get a little adventurous. Well, there's also a river that's like right down the road, a couple miles down, and he decided that he wanted to go take a leisure stroll, like a leisure cruise across the river. Well, there's no convenient way to get across that river.
Been there, done that.
You've got to go completely down to the next city over and cross over this bridge into Kentucky, and then come all the way back down. It ended up being about what should have been normally a 10 to 15 minute retrieval was about an hour and 30 minutes, because but as soon as I got back into range, picked right back up, drove right up to where he was just kind of soaring around, pulled out the lure, came right back, and off we were. But otherwise that would have been more than likely a lost bird.
Let's say GPS has been out in England now for the last probably 5-6 years. Marshall, fantastic. And like I say, it's a total game changer. It is so good. You can see exactly where it is. And you think, all right, before you think, right, you've got the signal, keep walking that way. Then you come to a river or come to a whatever, and you can't get there. And now you can look at it and thinking, I can just drive exactly where it is. And I've had, we've been out on the fens, down, out in Cambridgeshire flying, beautiful. And they've got like what they call a river cam. And it's a big drainage ditch, probably about 30 yards across. And again, it was that little that gyrfalcon. It was Yeah, I should have got rid of that earlier. It was him. Anyway, he's gone across the river and he's not coming back. And I've got a good signal. I'm thinking now, the nearest bridge, now it's probably 10 miles either direction. You've got to get back to the car because we walked across the fields to get to where he was. And by the time I get back to the car and get back round and then try and find him, it would be a nightmare. So I thought, well, the only way across, this is the end of November, stripped off, threw my hawking bag across and my boots. I thought, as long as I got my boots and so I'm just standing there in my pants, threw my boots across. I had a good signal, so I roughly knew where he was. So swam across the river. As I got to the other side, he'd come back. And I thought, if I'd have waited another second, he would have come back. Now I've got the bird down. I'm thinking, oh, crikey, now I know how cold this river is. It's the end of November. Now I've got to swim back across the river with the bird on my hand, so he's not getting wet, so we can hopefully get another flight with him a bit later on. And you're thinking, why on earth do you do it? And, I'll get home and the wife says, oh, did you have a great day? I said, no, it was the worst day ever. The bird disappeared, had to swim the river. Why'd you do it? Why'd you do it? This is meant to be fun. I said, you do it because you just love it. All falconers across the world, don't matter where you are, what you fly, you have the worst day in the world. You're thinking, sick of this, and then you go out the next day and you forget about all those bad days. And then the next day the bird flies well, you smash a pheasant down or a partridge or a duck and you're thinking, wow, that's why we do it.
Yeah, I mean, but as well as I do that if you waited that other minute, you would have been waiting about another 1,000 minutes. If you would have waited, the bird wouldn't have come back.
No, he wouldn't. No. I think he was probably sitting. But I thought, and like I say, when you got to get in the river and swim across in November, it was awful. But would I do it again for the gyr? Of course I would. Do any of the birds. You can't think, I can't. But say that now with a GPS, you think, right, I can get to where I've got to go, easy. But them days. Just with the old, Luxander set out and, it's hard work. But now it's just fantastic. And it's getting better and better all the time. I think Marshall have got a new thing coming out. They won't tell me what it is yet, but I think there's something in the pipeline that's going to come out. Yeah.
I've heard rumors too.
Yeah. No, like I say, when I went to, grouse camp a few times and, out to, with Steve Chingren and, best guys in the world, and we went to Robert Bagley showed us around Marshall's. Mm-hmm. Wow, it's like something out of Star Wars. The technology that they put into this stuff is just fantastic, and just like I say, it is a game changer, no doubt about it. Unbelievable.
Did you get to see the big mural that they painted, or was that?
Yes,
that
was they've just done it when I was there. Yeah,
it was just a few years ago or so.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
I didn't know if it was before they did that mural or if it was after or when.
I was there. About 3 years ago, it was just before COVID. Try and get out there. Once if I can get out there once a year. To see. We fly to Salt Lake City, stay with Steve Jensen. Mm-hmm. What a lovely guy, old grizzly. Old grizzly bear. He's a lovely guy. And then we go from there to grouse camp. In Eden. Steve Chingren, and it's the best experience in the world. I'd move there tomorrow. It's beautiful.
Yeah, you get to go out there and spend all that time telling all those lies and.
Yeah. You sit around that campfire at night time, drinking a few beers, and then even better still, then you find out where Cabela's is, and you go in Cabela's. Wow, it's like kids in a sweet shop going in there. They've got nothing like that in England. Cabela's is probably and Bass Pro, best shops in the world. And you go in there, you come out with about 4 pairs of hunting boots and trousers and coats, and you're thinking, hold on a minute, I've got to get these home now in my suitcase. Which is how do you get this home?
So you're bearing you're next thing you know you're buying another additional carry-on bag or a smaller suitcase.
That's exactly it. You think, I don't need those trousers or some of this stuff that you brought home from brought from England to the States. You think, I'll leave that or throw that in the dumpster and then put all the good stuff in.
I can just get a new nice and bright flowery shirt when I get back to to London.
Yeah.
No, I feel you. No, just out of curiosity, I've asked a couple of these other guys about kind of what a typical, since you face some other challenges with where you're at with, flying gyrs, what's training and what's an actual hunt look like for you? And what do you kind of hunt around here?
Well, where we fly, like say on what Stainsmore, you've got there's a river Colne that runs through the middle of it. And you do get a few ducks on it. And also in the spring, sort of winter time, autumn time, when it starts to, a bit of heavy rain, you do get some big puddles on the moor itself. So you get a few teal and mallard on there. So they are catchable, but you've got to set it up right. You've got to approach it from the, whatever way the wind's blowing and try and sort of ambush them. But our normal hunting, when we go out, well, I'm a game hawker, pheasants, ducks, partridge, grouse, whatever. That's it. That's me. So I fly a lot over in Essex with my friends, Alan Van Vink, Gary Billis, Gary Pearson, and they've got their own farms. Because in England, the hardest part of game hawking is finding game to fly at. In the States, when we've been out with Chingra and we drive onto, Farson or, whatever it's Sandy River or whatever it is called, and they drive for hundreds and hundreds of miles and it costs them nothing. In England, it costs you a fortune because you just can't go and think, there's a pheasant in the field over there or there's a duck pond over there, let's go and fly it. It's someone's property and you can't do it. And England's surrounded by big commercial shoots and, you knock on the farmer's door and say, can I fly my falcon at pheasants or ducks or partridges? You can get lost, clear off, because the money they spend on the shooting is crazy. But friends of mine have got ground over in Essex and also down in Hungerford we fly and they put pheasants down. So it's like cover shot. We use the dogs. I've got an English pointer and a German pointer. Or what we use now, which is another thing, a lot of people don't like it, is like thermal image scopes. So you can just drive along and think, with a thermal image scope out the window and you can see, there's a covey of partridge in a field where you probably wouldn't see them before. A lot of people say, it's cheating because you can, but you've still got to try and catch them. You've still got to set the flight up. You think, just because they're in the middle of the field, you think, you're going to catch them. No, it's impossible. Not impossible, but you've still got to set that flight up.
Yeah, it's not legitimate unless you suffer the most.
Oh, crikey! Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I mean, it would have been legitimate if you would have just driven or walked around for about 10 hours trying to find that group of birds or whatever. Yeah. But I mean, just trying to cut down on that search time. Yeah, it's just
that's the long bit. And and at the end of it, where we fly on a bit of ground is sort of what I call some bomb holes. It's just like a crater in the middle of the field, surrounded by trees. It'll have ducks on it. 9 times out of 10 there'll be half a dozen mallard on there or some teal, and then you think, you're running out of time, and it's a spec flight because as soon as you show your face, they've gone. So you've got to stand back 200 or 300 yards from the pond, let the bird go. When the bird's over the pond, run in, set the dogs off, run in, flush the ducks, run in there, no ducks. You think, now it's a pain. The bird's up 500-600 foot or 1,000 foot, whatever. Nothing comes out. Now you've got to then get the bird down, and that can all go wrong as well. So hopefully, just throw the lure out or run to another piece of cover strip and hopefully let all the dogs off. And there's dogs everywhere trying to flush something or trying to find something to serve your bird when it's up in the... It's all crazy.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that have to come together.
Oh, it's one of the hardest part. It's like a big jigsaw. It's the same wherever you fly the birds. All you're just the person that holds the bird. And you've got to have the dog on point. You've got to know where the grouse is, or the pheasant, or the partridge, or the duck. On a pond, and then you think, right, the wind's blowing this way. Right, I've got to come around that side, or there's a hedgerow that runs along the road there. If I'd use a hedge, sneak along the side of the hedge, put the bird up 2 fields back. And someone standing further back with a radio, okay, go, run in, and then try and sort of orchestrate the flush from there. And it is hard work, but I don't know, like I say, when it all goes together, you remember those flights forever. When it all goes wrong, you think, what a nightmare.
Yeah.
Where's the pub?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's what beer's for.
Yeah.
It's I think it's funny because when a lot of people that don't know a whole lot about falconry, I think they think that the training of the bird is like the hardest part, and I'm always like, no, the training part's actually the easy part.
That's easy. Yeah,
like getting them to kind of come back and doing all that. That's actually kind of the easy part. The hard part is orchestrating the hunts.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, you got to, or you wait all weekend. You get invited on a good bit of ground. With lots of pheasants or ducks, and you go there and it's raining or it's blowing a gale, and you think, you just drove 150 miles and the weather's just ridiculous. You think, do I fly the bird in this rubbish weather? And, what is the bird going to achieve out of flying? And a lot of people will fly their birds in rubbish weather, but they're never going to get the best out of the bird. I don't know whether I'm sort of, get a bit not frightened, but thinking, why fly in rubbish weather when the bird's not going to make its best pitch? It could all go wrong so quickly, and then think, no, I won't fly. I think that's probably one of the hardest bits. I think it's a sign of a good falconer. A lot of people say, oh, yeah, we'll fly it, undo the braces, straight hood, let it go. I think the sign of a good falconer is turning the flight down, thinking, yes, there's ducks there, but if they flush, they're going to go that way. The bird's not going to get on them because there's trees behind there, or there's a road, or there's a power line, or whatever. And you've just got to look at the situation and weigh it up, thinking, no, not for me. If someone else wants to fly it and risk losing your bird, I love my birds to bits, and I don't want to, risk it on one flight. What's the point of that? Wasting, So I think a good sign is being able to turn a flight down when you think, yeah, that's not going to, a lot of people say, oh yeah, fly it. And I've seen it dozens of times. They've let the bird go and it all goes wrong. And, the bird doesn't get a proper flush and the bird goes downwind and then it's a track down and thinking, told you.
Yeah.
Should have kept him on the fist.
Yeah. Well, just being real about it, though. We all succumb to temptation.
Oh, of course you do. Yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. It's just a matter of, how many times you can hold yourself in check. And sometimes that's what some good old fashioned hunting buddies are for, to tell you how stupid and just incompetent you are, just even thinking about it and whatever. And
I think most of them say, yeah, go on, no, do it, go on, do it.
Yeah, they just want.
I told you not to do it.
Yeah, we've been there plenty of times too. Just like, go for it. Yeah. I could use some more entertainment. Use some more entertainment today.
Yeah,
sure, why not?
That's it. Yeah.
No,
we get that a lot. Yeah, God, I'd fly it. I said, well, go and get your bird then and fly it. Oh, well, he's a little bit heavy today. I fed him late last night, so he's not really ready. I said, oh, well, there we go then. Yeah. But,
you got to start breaking out every excuse.
But when we go out hunting, it's not a competition, and you want your birds to fly well. But I get just as much enjoyment seeing other birds fly. And at the end of the day, when the birds are back on the fist, in the back of the car, all safe and well, you've had the best day ever. That's the best part about it. And you have, the camaraderie. The Mickey taking, I told you that was rubbish, or this, that. That's all part of the fun, having a good day out, get the hip flask out, have a few slow gins, and that's it.
For sure, yeah, no, and in our case, sometimes it's these short little shot glass sized things of Fireball. That those kind of tend to get broken out occasionally in our group.
I'm shame it's not a video or picture. I should show a picture. I like wearing flowery shirts, and also I'm sort of known for my hip flask. In England, they've got, let's say, it's called a hip flask. On your hip, it's got about, I don't know, a bit of whiskey or slow gin or port and brandy in it, and it's the size of how can I say it? But not very big. It holds about a cup full of whiskey or gin.
Sure, yeah.
Well, my hip flask, they get these hip flasks out of their pocket. I say, that's not a hip flask. It's a bit like Crocodile Dundee.
Yeah, it's not.
This is a hip flask. It holds a gallon, and it's about, it holds a gallon of slow gin. And I said, that's a hip flask. And we get that out, and that's all part of the fun. Yeah. And then get the cigars out as well.
Yeah, they look at you like, why do you have a gallon jug tied to your...
no, you can't carry it. No, it's too heavy to carry it. No, it's in the back of the car. When we're back at the car after we finish flying, we're sitting there reminiscing on the day, and like, we'll all have a cigar, and then we get the hip flask out and have a few slow gins, and then drive home. Shouldn't say that. Not let drink and drive, but we don't go too mad.
Oh, you just wait till you're sober again.
Yeah,
that's fine. Yeah, for
a
sure.
Week later.
Jeez. Well, going back to the whole breeding thing. You mentioned that you breed your own gyrs now. How tough was it really to get into that?
It was for me. It was my female gyr. She was 9 years old when she first laid. And she laid the egg and went, crikey, what do I do? Anyway, I spoke to a friend of mine, a very good friend, a guy, he's a big gyr breeder, Martin Patterson, his name is. And he said, crikey, he said, because you laid the one egg, he said, I'll send you some semen, in the post. I said, oh, perfect. So, but I didn't really know what I was doing, but it was easy enough to do it. I went to see him and he showed me, he's got lots of gyrs, he's a big gyr breeder. And he showed me how to do it. And I think, well, that looks quite easy. If, there's no hard science about it. You just take it out in a little pipette and just pop it on and draw it in. So, but I messed up the first year anyway. The second year, like I say, this is now 4 years ago. I knew. She said, Martin Pat said, she said she will lay within those 2 or 3 days this year, next year. So anyway, he sent me the semen through last year, 4 years ago, and I've got 4 out of 4 eggs. And I thought, how do I incubate them? And, it's like, do I leave her with them or do I put them in the incubator? He said, let us sit them for 10 days and then put them in the incubator. Don't mess. He said, the best bit of advice I could give you is that when you put them in the incubator, leave them alone. Don't mess around with them. Just make sure it's set up with a Grumback incubator, put them in that, and got 4 out of 4 out. So in the breeding, then I had a gyrsaker that I inseminated as well. So I had 3 gyrsakers that we bred. And it's just got so easy. But then this year, for some weird reason, global warming, I don't know what it is, my gyr now has now decided to lay an egg 5 weeks early. 5 weeks early. We phoned up all the guys, she's not expected to lay this time, crikey's laid an egg. So no one's, none of the gyrs are donating. So I couldn't get any semen. So that was all, I thought, this year's all gone completely wrong. So he said to me, what you want to do is let us sit them for 10 days and then take them away and she'll recycle, hopefully. In the meantime, one of my jerkins is now come into condition. So I'm now getting semen from him. She's came, and the female now is wanting to stand again. And this year we got 3 out of it. So I've actually bred, from my own jerkin, donating semen to me to inseminating the female. And I'm thinking, it's so easy, And they say, perhaps I shouldn't do it, I say it, but, some of these big breeders, they weigh the egg. They say, what did the egg weigh? I say, I don't know. Never weighed an egg in my life. You've got to do the chart. You've got to do they do this chart, the egg weight loss, this thing. I don't, probably fantastic. I don't know. I don't do it. And they said, you've got to drill holes in them and this, and you've got to sand the eggs. I said, crikey, I've never done none of that. I said, just put them in the incubator, leave them alone, and they've all hatched. I've not lost one. Not one. 100% success.
And how many years you've been doing it?
Only 4. I'm still a novice. Perhaps next year it could all go totally wrong and lose a lot. But, and they said, those incubators, they're no good. They're rubbish. You want one of these, this type of incubator, that type of incubator. I bought these Grambacks, super German thing. And, no, they're rubbish. They're rubbish. You don't want one of them. You want one of these ones or this one. I won't say names or anything. But this Grandback that I use I've had no problem at all. It's fantastic. Brilliant.
Yeah. You know how it is. Falconers.
If it's not broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, Falconers and their opinions.
Crikey, yeah.
Yeah, no, totally get it. Well, go ahead and share. I know you've already shared a couple of pretty neat stories so far, but I mean, what's the you've heard our episodes. I mean, we like to ask what usually there's one story or one bird in particular that every falconer has that always kind of comes to the forefront of their mind whenever they reflect back on their experience. So what's yours?
Oh, crikey. I've had some super falcons, like say gyr peregrines, fantastic. But if I didn't fly just pure gyrs, it'd be a gyr peregrine. Peregrines are fantastic. Lots of my friends just fly the peregrines, but I do like the hybrids. People don't like hybrids, but the pure gyrs, I love the gyrs. I don't know. It's just the flights you get with them. I've had probably. Not one of them. It's probably that bird again. That gyr Barbary. I've been in London with him, swum rivers with him. We'd go on a field meeting every year. Not a brilliant flight. It was a cracking thing. And I had him for about 12 years. And in the end, I thought after 12 years, he'd fly brilliant one day, exactly the same weight, same field, same scenario. And it'd just do something totally different. Anyway, we went on this field meeting every year at the end of the season. John Humphrey's field meet. Beautiful ground on the fens over in Cambridgeshire. And in the distance, there's one old dead oak tree. And I guarantee that horrible little rat, as soon as you unhood him, you've got partridges and pheasants down these ditches and then down the ducks on the fens. And then it just straight line to this oak tree. And they called it Alan's tree in the end because this gerb. And I thought, next year it'll be better. Next year it'll be better. And I give him 12 years. I flew him for 12 years thinking, next year you're going to be better. And I think I wasted 12 years with him, to be honest. But that's not wasted. You're learning all the time with him. But as far as, best flights, I don't know. Everyone has super flights and disastrous flights. I've had horrible flights where I fly on Stainsmoor, you got the M25 one side. The jerkin, actually, I breed from now, or gave me semen this year. He's called Eddie, I'll call him. He had a superb pitch. Flushed the ducks, chased the ducks, And then he's gone. Then the crows, in England we get a lot of trouble with the crows. Then the crows have latched onto him and give him a hard time. And I see him go across the road, across the M25, and he's not come back. So I've got the GPS. I can see him right by the side of the road. I thought, that's not good. So I go over there. He's sitting on the side of the road. He'd been hit by a car. Luckily, he was still alive, but he was not. His wing was drooped, but he could still fly. And he managed to fly about, half a mile down the road into Staines town centre, which is a nightmare, onto the building. Now he's got a drooped wing because he's been hit. He thinks I've probably done it because he doesn't like me because, now he's sulking because he's, it took me 2 days to get him back, but that was a nightmare. But it's one of the flights that I'll always remember that I don't like to remember. It could have happened, touch wood. He was, it didn't kill him and he's still okay now and he's a breeding bird, but I will fly him again, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's got those, experiences that, good and bad.
Yeah,
so.
100%. Yeah, like I say, then you get the days. Well, I suppose one of my probably best days is, again, we was flying out in Essex, and it's a spec flight. What we call, you don't know, it's a big wood. In the middle of this wood, well, it's not a massive wood, it's about 100 yards across, 100 metres across either direction. In the middle of it is like a duck pond. It's always got wild teal on it and wild mallard. And you put the bird up, and it's my white jerkin that I flew, and I've not flown him at ducks. And the guy said, try him, see what he does. This was about 5 years ago. Try him. So I let him go anyway. When he's above the woods, go on in, send the dogs in. It's just a bit of a chaos then. Send the dogs in, ducks are going everywhere. Anyway, he's come down, he's hit one, killed it, and grabbed another one. He's killed two. And I thought, wow, you can't get any better than that. For a bird that's never flown on ducks, he's now done two. And wow, that's the best thing ever. You'll always remember that flight. Well, I will, but since then, they say, it's a spec flight, and people, when we go on the ground, people say, do you want to fly? And they'll go, I don't know. I'll do it, because you know that there's a 99% chance they're going to come out.
Yeah.
But it's I think what you put in is what you get out. A lot of people say, I couldn't, I want to get a falcon or get this, get that. Well, where can I fly it? I said, well, you've got to have somewhere to fly it, and you've got to put the miles in. I travel thousands of miles every year. Same with the guys in America, or anywhere in Europe, wherever. If you're dedicated enough and you want to fly that particular species of bird, and that's what you want to fly, you've got to put the work in. And, people say, oh, you're mad, you're stupid. And I said, yeah, perhaps I am, but that's what I love to do. And, I just love them, and I can't see me ever. I suppose when I get a bit older, I might, get a hawk. But I doubt it.
Most people, whenever they get older, they transition to long wings anyway because it's.
Well, a lot of the times, when we fly the long wings, we're sort of in the car, and you can drive along the tracks. Same, when we're out with, when I've been out with Steve Chingren, we drive along those gravel tracks, and dogs are running to the side, and you see, dogs on point, right? Get out of the truck, put the bird up. Get the flight, back in the truck, drive off and try. Before we walk miles and miles and miles. Go on a grouse moor, walk miles and miles and miles and miles, and then back to the car. And if it all goes wrong on a grouse moor, wow, then you're in trouble because you're far enough away from the cars, and you can't get back to the car. To get the bird, or to get to the car to get to where the bird is. That could be a nightmare. I've had a few of those as well. Tracking a bird down on a grouse moor at night time and thinking. Again, I was with Alan. This was a couple of years ago in Yorkshire. And we're flying a bird. Oh, a wild peregrine's chased him down. He was playing with a wild peregrine, and we're walking. And I said, I'll go and find him. Couldn't get a proper GPS signal for some reason. I don't know whether it's just only just come out, and I probably didn't have the settings right. But I did have a good signal, so I knew where he was. But so we're walking across this grouse moor, further and further and further away from the car. And I said to Alan, crikey, we're in trouble now. He said, well, what's the matter? I said, we've been walking for about 3 hours, tracking the bird down. I said, it's going to be dark in 20 minutes. And then sure enough, it was dark. And then you're thinking, now we're in the middle of a grouse moor up in Yorkshire, and you haven't got a clue where you are. And you're thinking, that was frightening. I don't mind admitting, I was frightened. And thinking, crikey, you could fall down like a peat hag, like the big ruts in the ground, and break your leg or whatever. And I said to Alan, well, I don't know what we're going to do now. I said, but we did know where the bird was. And I said, down in the sort of a long way off, there's a little red light. And we said, well, it must be someone's house. Got to be a house. So we walked down the hill, but anyway, managed to get to the house, knocked on the door, a lady come to the door, nicest lady in the world, but it was the gamekeeper's wife from the neighbouring shoot. She was lovely. He was a complete horrible man. Oh, you shouldn't be on my ground. Oh, he was a nightmare. Couldn't pick a worse house in the world to knock on the door. But next morning, he took us under the... He was okay, but he was a bit grumpy, bless him. But
yeah, well, at any rate, it's like I said, appreciate you sharing all the stories and stuff.
Yeah, no, it's just a few.
yeah. No, I mean, that's what we love, though. And I mean, is there any other kind of pearls of wisdom or bits of advice or knowledge you want to pass on?
I suppose one of the only, like with gyrs, like I say, I'm learning. I've been flying gyrs for 20 years. Probably the best. If someone's listened to this and thinking, where I fly, you could fly a bird in any terrain within reason, if that makes sense. I've got some big open bits of ground. They're not vast open like in Wyoming where you can see for hundreds of miles or miles and miles. Probably the best bit of advice is anyone that's thinking of getting one, don't get in a fight with it, because if you upset it. If you go to hood it and it doesn't like it, or you will have the hood on, you start to get it screaming, and you just let it calm down and don't get in a fight with them. That's probably the best bit of advice. If they don't like it, don't upset them. And but yeah, no, it's been a pleasure.
Yeah, no, it's been great, and I'm glad that we got a chance to meet and talk for a bit. Yeah. And I appreciate you giving me the time, and hopefully you have a good rest of your weekend. And I'm not sure. I'm not sure when I'll see you again. Maybe if you pop down to the States again at some time.
Yeah, well, we'll turn up at probably one of the NAFA meets. Yeah. This year it's at Texas. I think Lubbock,
It's
Texas.
in Lubbock. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think I've been to Amarillo before, but I think I might wait till it changes to, I don't know, Nebraska or somewhere, probably a bit better. No, not better, but probably.
Lubbock's one of the better places, at least for jackrabbits and stuff. Things like
pheasants
that.
And part. Well, no, they said the ducks because they're going to have it a week later, so it's going to be a little bit cooler, and the ducks might be in. So
yeah, no, I mean I'm not really sure what Texas's seasons are and things like that, but I mean. From what I've heard, Texas is pretty good for ducks and waterfowl.
Yeah, when we went to Amarillo, it was probably about 20 years ago. I think.
Lubbock, I should say.
And that was good. On the ducks, on the the drainage, on the irrigation ditches, and the pheasants. Yeah, that was brilliant. Loved it. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you've gotten a chance to come down and see some American falconry.
Love it. Yeah. So I've been. When was it? About 10 years ago, we had the British Falconers Club had a what we call Norton Park meet. So I was there with an old guy, Bill Toffs, bless him. He's dead now, but another one that's died, bless him. Lovely guy, I'd known him for years and years and years. So anyway, we was talking, and Steve Chingren was there. He come up, and Bill knew Steve, and he said, Steve, this is Alan. Shook his hand. He said, if you ever want to come out, grouse camp, come out. Wow, what an invitation. So I think the following year, me and Bill went out to, flew to Salt Lake, stayed with Jensen, and then from there we went to grouse camp. It was the best experience ever. That's how I met met Steve Chingren at one meeting. And then even now he texts me, on Facebook, how you doing? Yeah, when you coming out? All the time, when you coming out? And we probably this year, next year, I'll definitely be back. Cool. I'll be back.
Yeah, well, I mean, if we happen to run into each other or something,
definitely.
Or if you happen to come down to an NAFA meet and I happen to be going, let me know.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Well, like I said, man, appreciate it. Appreciate the time and sharing your experiences with us.
Yeah, no, thanks, guys. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
All right, we'll talk soon.
Thank you.